The rain fell in heavy sheets that evening, drumming against the glass window like a relentless heartbeat, each drop a reminder that some moments in life refuse to wait. Mara Hartwell sat alone in her dimly lit apartment. The soft glow of a single lamp casting long shadows across the worn wooden floor. Her fingers hovered over the phone, trembling slightly, not from cold, but from the fear of what might happen if she made the call. She had been told, almost mockingly by a friend, "Call whoever you want. Life's too short to carry grudges." Mara had laughed at the time, imagining the absurdity of reaching out after years of silence. But now, staring at the screen, that laughter felt hollow, distant, as if someone else had said it long ago. Her heart thumped erratically, and she hesitated. Then, almost as if propelled by an invisible force, she dialed the number. If you believe in kindness and second chances, pause for a moment to like this video, comment your thoughts, share with someone you care about, and subscribe to Deep Night Stories. Some stories are worth holding close. The line rang once, twice, and Mara felt a pang of regret with every passing second. The old connection, the bond that once existed, now seemed fragile, almost ethereal, like a memory caught in amber. And then she heard it. A voice, unmistakably familiar, yet layered with years of distance, pain, and longing. It was Ezra Callahan, the boy who had been more than just a friend, the one who had seen her laugh when the world was cruel, and had cried with her when everything fell apart. "Mara," his voice trembled, the single word carrying a weight she hadn't anticipated. Mara's hand flew to her mouth, a gasp escaping her lips, because she hadn't imagined he'd answer. Not after all this time, not after everything that had happened. Mara had met Ezra back in high school, in a town that seemed too small to contain the dreams of either of them. They had been inseparable, two misfits navigating the labyrinth of adolescence, finding solace in shared secrets and quiet understanding. But life had a way of twisting even the strongest connections. College had taken them to opposite ends of the country. Jobs, responsibilities, and the unspoken fear of vulnerability had built walls neither had been brave enough to scale. And then came the night of the accident, the one that Mara could never forget, a car crash that had taken Ezra's younger sister, and in the chaos, their friendship had fractured under the weight of guilt, blame, and words that could never be unsaid. Mara's chest tightened as she listened, the sound of Ezra's voice igniting memories she had buried deep. There was a pause on the line, a silence so profound that it felt like the universe itself was holding its breath. "Ezra, it's me," she whispered, almost as if saying it aloud would shatter her own courage, and then came a soft, almost incredulous laugh from him, a laugh she remembered from simpler times. I didn't expect to hear from you," he said, "after all these years." The floodgates opened, and Mara found herself talking, first in fragmented sentences, then in a steady stream of words that had been trapped in her chest for over a decade. She spoke of regret, of apologies that came too late, of nights spent wondering if he was okay. Ezra listened, the silence between them punctuated by the occasional sigh, the occasional intake of breath, until he finally spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. "I've missed you, Mara, more than I realized." World outside seemed to pause as they talked, time folding over itself. Rain continued to pour, tapping out a rhythm that mirrored Mara's frantic heartbeat. She realized how much she had longed for. This, for the possibility of forgiveness, for the chance to reconnect with someone who had once been her anchor in a stormy life. And yet, she also realized how much had changed, how fragile this new chapter could be. Life had not been gentle with Ezra either. Mara learned of his struggles, of lonely nights spent in apartments too quiet, of moments when he had wanted to give up entirely, and she felt the old protective instinct flare within her. She wanted to fix things, to bridge the years lost, but she knew some gaps were impossible to close with words alone. As the conversation meandered through shared memories and cautious truths, Mara felt a stirring of hope, fragile yet persistent. They spoke of small joys, books that had moved them, songs that had carried them through despair, fleeting moments of triumph that neither had shared with anyone else. And with each exchange, the heavy weight of the past seemed to lighten, replaced by a tentative understanding, a recognition that they had both survived, and that survival itself was a testament to their strength. Mara's thoughts drifted to the night of the accident, and for a moment, tears blurred her vision. She remembered Ezra's sister's laughter, the way she had run through the living room with reckless joy, unaware of how short life could be. That night had left scars on both of them, scars that were invisible to the world but raw and unhealed within. But hearing Ezra now, feeling the warmth of his voice, Mara realized that healing, however slow, was possible. It was as if the universe had conspired to bring them together again, offering a second chance that neither had dared to imagine. They talked until the early hours, voices soft, intimate, threading through the past and present with a tentative hope. Mara shared her dreams, the ones she had abandoned in fear, and Ezra confessed to regrets that had haunted him for years. And then, in a moment of quiet bravery, Mara said the words that had lingered unspoken for over 10 years. "I'm sorry, Ezra, for everything. For leaving, for the silence, for not being there when you needed me." There was a long pause, the kind that stretches across lifetimes before Ezra's voice returned, gentle, steady, and forgiving. "I forgive you, Mara, and I've missed you. Let's not waste any more time." A sense of peace settled over Mara like a gentle tide. She realized that life's cruel twists had not been punishments but lessons, shaping them into the people they were now. Both had endured pain, loss, and loneliness, but both had also grown, and in that growth found the capacity to forgive, to reconnect, and to hope again. Mara felt a warmth in her chest, a sense of homecoming she hadn't known she was seeking. Days turned into weeks, and their reconnection deepened. Days turned into weeks, and their reconnection deepened. Ezra would call her at unexpected hours, and Mara would wait eagerly, the sound of his voice a balm to her weary soul. They shared dinners over video calls, walked together through virtual parks, and slowly, carefully, began to weave their lives back together. There were moments of hesitation, moments when old wounds throbbed painfully, but they faced each one with honesty and vulnerability, learning that true connection is forged not in perfection, but in authenticity. One rainy afternoon, as Mara stood by her apartment window, she looked out at the city lights, reflecting in the puddles below, and she thought about the power of a single choice, a choice to reach out, to speak, to risk vulnerability. That one call had changed everything. She felt grateful for the courage it had taken to dial the number, grateful for the chance to rebuild a bond that had been thought lost forever. And she realized that life often gives us these moments, fleeting and fragile, where a single act of bravery can open doors to love, forgiveness, and renewal. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, comment, and share this video. Your engagement means the world, and it helps keep stories like these alive on Deep Night Stories. Mara and Ezra's journey was far from over, but the first step had been taken. They had learned to navigate the fragile terrain of second chances, understanding that trust, once broken, requires patience, empathy, and unwavering commitment to nurture. Every call, every conversation became a thread weaving them closer together, stitching the frayed edges of their lives into a tapestry of shared understanding and newfound hope. In those quiet moments, as Mara listened to Ezra recount a memory from their childhood, one of them laughing uncontrollably in the rain, she felt a deep sense of gratitude for life, for resilience, and for the mysterious ways in which time and circumstance can conspire to heal even the deepest wounds. The rain outside continued to fall, a reminder that storms are temporary and that after the darkest nights, there is always the possibility of dawn. Before the story ends, let us take a moment to cherish the people who matter in our lives, the voices that bring us comfort, and the opportunities to forgive and reconnect. Sometimes, all it takes is a single phone call to change everything. Mara looked at her phone one last time that evening, feeling the quiet thrill of possibility. She knew the journey ahead would not be without challenges, but she also knew that she was no longer facing it alone. Ezra was there, not as a ghost of the past, but as a living testament to resilience, forgiveness, and the enduring power of human connection. And for the first time in years, Mara allowed herself to hope, not just for happiness, but for the kind of love and friendship that could withstand the tests of time and circumstance. And so, the rain fell, the city slept, and two souls, separated by years and circumstance, found their way back to each other, one brave call at a time. Life, Mara realized, is fleeting, unpredictable, and often harsh, but it is also full of second chances, waiting patiently for those brave enough to reach out.